I'm Gavin, and welcome to MLS Fantasy Picks.
As always, we'll go through a recap of last round, talk through some key considerations for next round, and get into our player picks and tiers. Looking at how we did last round, I ended on a 65, so I was quite happy with that. Any week where I increase in overall rank is a good week. I had a week rank of 821. My overall rank now sits at 438, so great to see that. And my total score now sits at 541. So let's see how we did, some learnings for the week. So with my Keeperoo, I had Guzan with the 4, but life happened for me. I had family visiting, so I ended up keeping in Pulse Camp. I never looked at lineups. Would have made a lot more sense to put a new Starry instead of Pulse Camp, but hey. And looking at our defenders, so I actually did some tinkering this week. I saw that Wagner was starting, and I put him in. I kept in Orejano, and luckily enough, they both had great scores with 8 and 5. Toronto ended up losing their clean sheet at the very end, so I didn't want to take Johnson's 4 off the bench, and I did want Freeman's 7, so good scores across my defense. Only 2 duds in the midfield with Mukhtar and McGlynn. Going to start fading Mukhtar, I think. Ojeda with the solid 7 and no goal contributions. Mihailovic with the 10. Espinoza with the 8. Love to see it. And then Benteke had a 4, so decent for a striker. It's not a 2. And then Messi only with the 5. Still kept him on the captain. 10, not awful. And then Olashey failed me with the 2. So looking at our official MLS Fantasy Picks leagues, I'm currently sitting at 43, so I'm about 65 or 63 points behind first place. So definitely some ground to make up. But hey, it's a long season. Those double game weeks can really change things up. But yeah, similar top 5 here. Navla Besquende FC, 58. Clover Street Ultras, 68. Great score. Latte with extra lath, 61. Messi Golden Boot with the 70. Then Darta FC with the 53. So congrats to everyone in the top 5. And looking at our head-to-head league, so we've got Dancaus FC, Brea Banditos, Hatsune Miku, Magnolia Megs, Arsenal 911. So our same top 5 as usual. We've only got 3 undefeated teams currently, so well done to everyone there. Let's see where I'm sitting at. So I'm at 32nd, 6-0-2, so yeah, we'll see how we land. Key considerations for this round, nothing too crazy. Just to note, all games are on Saturday this week. So when it comes to your switcheroos, I'll probably looking at more of those early games, like the early afternoons, just to make it a bit more straightforward. But yeah, all our games are on Saturday, so be sure to plan your switcheroos around that. No teams on bye, and as always, check for injuries and suspensions before the game week starts. So getting started with my recommended premium goalkeepers, I really only like Stuver this week. He's 8.6 at home against a Galaxy squad. They're getting their attackers back, but I still like Austin's defense at home. So looking at standard keepers this week, I've got Takaoka just because St. Louis haven't been great offensively. And then Minnesota, we've got Dane St. Clair. I like that Minnesota versus that Dallas matchup. So you could always do a front end of a Brad Stuver to either one of these guys on the back end. And then budget keepers this week, I do like Stephen Fry a lot. He's only 6.4. Seattle's at home versus Nashville. Yeah, I like Seattle as a back end keeper option from Stuver. That's what I'm currently looking at. And then I've also got Cabral from RSL. They're playing Toronto, who didn't score, I don't think, last week against Minnesota. And I think RSL's a decent time. They might be at 9:30 Eastern, so you could use him on the back end of a keeperoo if you don't want to go with like an early game Stuver from Austin. Premium defenders I like this week. I'm definitely looking at Wagner. He's at home against Atlanta, who haven't looked great defensively. Wagner's getting a lot more involved in the attack, especially since Gazdag is out. I like Orejano, though he didn't impress me too much with his key pass and bonus point numbers last week. You'd think if he's in that attacking role, we'd see a bit more shots and key passes. But he did get good points because of his clean sheet. Good matchup, though, against Chicago. And then I like some Columbus defenders this week. Moreira's a bit more attacking. Throw him on your bench, see how he does against Miami. So looking at standard defender picks, I like Ahmed. He's playing out of position against St. Louis. I like the matchup, so make sure he's starting, though, if you do play him. Gallagher, good option on the front end, only 7.8, and they're at home against LA. You could put him on the bench, preview his points. Like I said before, I like the Minnesota versus Dallas matchup, and Boxall's good for a bonus point or two. And this is sort of a fun call-out, so I did see that Dante Sealy, though he does play for Montreal is going back home. He is playing in the wing position, and I think he got an assist last week. So if we look at some of his stats, while they're a bit all over the place, he got plenty of key passes and crosses last week, so 3 bonus points. So honestly, a fun shout. They're playing Orlando. Orlando's not great defensively. I'm not sure how they'll do at Montreal, Orlando, so could be a fun look. Definitely a bench play, but yeah, just something to look at. And then looking at our budget defenders, of course, you got to keep rolling with Freeman. Got the clean sheet last week, and they're playing against Montreal. Tate Johnson, still a good look. I mean, he got a 4 without the clean sheet, and he's only 6.5. I like that matchup against St. Louis. Valencia, I think, is continuing to play more of that attacking role for Red Bull New York, and they're at home against DC, so maybe not a shutout, but could be some good offensive potential. And this is a fun pick, mainly the potential price rise as well. But I do like New England. They're at home against NYCFC. Could be a bit of a sleeper pick. But yeah, I may be looking for some sneaky New England picks this week against New York City. Our premium middies, of course, Ojeda, you like that matchup against Montreal. He has definitely been a lock defender for me this year. Dreyer, I'm a bit more hesitant about, but I still think he's a good pick due to his floor. They're away against Charlotte, where that Charlotte defense is pretty solid at home. Espinoza, I like a lot this week. I had him last week, and he got me an 8, so love to see that. Yeah, they're at home against SKC. Could be potential plenty of goals for San Jose. Mihailovic looked great, attacking bonus points with the goal. So he is playing away, but as I said before, I'm still going to keep looking at those away players this season. And then another fun pick, didn't make the screen, but Jack McGlynn let us down a bit last week, but I still have lots of faith in McGlynn week in, week out for fantasy. Then looking at standard midfielders for the week, honestly, Pep Biel has really surprised me this season. I don't think I've picked him once, but he's really impressed me with his bonus points and goal contributions. So he scored last week, got a 9. So they're at home against San Diego, so could be some potential here for Biel. Heel, I'm definitely going to be looking at this week. 13, great bonus points, and they're playing NYC at home. I like that matchup. Bernadeschi, he's one that I usually would put on my bench as I'm not too sure about him, but still a decent option and a decent price. Sullivan, I am a fan of this week. Plenty of bonus points, no goal contributions. He will be stepping up a lot since Gazdag has been out. So yeah, I like that matchup for Quinn at home this week against Atlanta. Looking at budget midfielders, I do like Sverkov from San Diego. Like I said, that Charlotte defense is pretty strong at home, but San Diego's attack has looked great, and anyone can really get the goal. It's just hard to tell who will be benefiting from a fantasy standpoint. Pereira, I called out last week. He did only get a 4, but that's still decent bonus points with no goal contributions. I like the matchup against Dallas. We'll have to keep keeping an eye on him. And then Bossy as well. He can pop off randomly. I mean, he doesn't have a great floor, but if you want someone to throw on your bench, could be a decent option at home against Colorado. So looking at premium strikers, Messi, of course, early game, I'm still going to keep him on the field. Not really someone you put on your bench. Benteke as well. I mean, a floor is not great, but still I feel like for a striker that's good. They're away against Red Bull. And then Arango I like a lot. Still 4 last week, but anyone on San Jose can really pop off from a fantasy standpoint, and I like that home matchup against SKC. Then looking at our standard price forwards, I do like Muriel this week away against Montreal. Good matchup. He got a 4 last week, so good to see from a bonus point standpoint. Navarro as well with Colorado. They're playing Houston. He had a good game last week, 9 points. Love to see that. And then White, sort of guaranteed price rise this week after scoring 4 goals last week. Don't expect him to do that again, but it's a good matchup with Vancouver playing away at St. Louis. Then finishing with our budget forwards for the week. It's hard to say Buwanga is a budget forward, but he's only $8 million. He got his first goal last week, so you love to see that. Still not a huge amount of points, but yeah, decent matchup against Portland. And then I've also called out Owusu here, Montreal at home against Orlando. Orlando not the greatest defensively, and Owusu can score randomly here and there, so not a strong floor, but could be worth a bench play. And then finishing off with captains for the week, I feel like Messi is usually the lock, hard to beat. So we'll see what the Miami lineup looks like. Ojeda though, I mean, with such a strong floor and playing Montreal, good option for captain. And then Mihailovic as well could easily pop off against Houston, so plenty of good captain's options this week. So that wraps up today's video. Thanks all for watching, and as always, good luck.